KaraokeBooks.
Candide. Audiobook. Written by Voltaire. Translated by Tobias Smollett. Chapter 28. What befell Candide, Cunegonde, Pangloss, Martin, etc. Pardon, said Candide to the Baron. Once more let me entreat your pardon, Reverend Father, for running you through the body. Say no more about it, replied the Baron. I was a little too hasty, I must own. But as you seem to be desirous to know by what accident I came to be a slave on board the galley where you saw me, I will inform you. After I had been cured of the wound you gave me, by the college apothecary, I was attacked and carried off by a party of Spanish troops, who clapped me in prison in Buenos Aires, at the very time my sister was setting out from there. I asked leave to return to Rome, to the general of my order, who appointed me chaplain to the French ambassador at Constantinople. I had not been a week in my new office, when I happened to meet one evening a young Icoglin, extremely handsome and well-made. The weather was very hot. The young man had an inclination to bathe. I took the opportunity to bathe likewise. I did not know it was a crime for a Christian to be found naked in company with a young Turk. A caddy ordered me to receive 100 blows on the soles of my feet, and sent me to the galleys. I do not believe that there was ever an act of more flagrant injustice. But I would fain know how my sister came to be a scullion to a Transylvanian prince, who has taken refuge among the Turks. But how happens it that I behold you again, my dear Pangloss? Said Candide. It is true, answered Pangloss, you saw me hanged, though I ought properly to have been burned. But you may remember, that it rained extremely hard when they were going to roast me. The storm was so violent that they found it impossible to light the fire, so they hanged me because they could do no better. A surgeon purchased my body, carried it home, and prepared to dissect me. He began by making a crucial incision from my navel to the clavicle. It is impossible for anyone to have been more lamely hanged than I had been. The executioner was a subdeacon, and knew how to burn people very well, but as for hanging, he was a novice at it, being quite out of practice. The cord being wet, and not slipping properly, the noose did not join. In short, I still continued to breathe. The crucial incision made me scream to such a degree, that my surgeon fell flat upon his back, and imagining it was the devil he was dissecting, ran away, and in his fright tumbled downstairs. His wife, hearing the noise, flew from the next room, and seeing me stretched upon the table with my crucial incision, was still more terrified than her husband, and fell upon him. When they had a little recovered themselves, I heard her say to her husband, My dear, how could you think of dissecting a heretic? Don't you know that the devil is always in them? I'll run directly to a priest to come and drive the evil spirit out. I trembled from head to foot at hearing her talk in this manner, and exerted what little strength I had left to cry out, Have mercy on me. At length the Portuguese barber took courage, sewed up my wound, and his wife nursed me, and I was upon my legs in a fortnight's time. The barber got me a place to be lackey to a knight of Malta, who was going to Venice, but finding my master had no money to pay me my wages, I entered into the service of a Venetian merchant and went with him to Constantinople. One day I happened to enter a mosque, where I saw no one but an old man and a very pretty young female devotee, who was telling her beads. Her neck was quite bare, and in her bosom she had a beautiful nosegay of tulips, roses, anemones, ranunculuses, hyacinths, and auriculas. She let fall her nosegay. I ran immediately to take it up, and presented it to her with a most respectful bow. I was so long in delivering it that the man began to be angry, and, perceiving I was a Christian, he cried out for help. They carried me before the caddy, who ordered me to receive 100 bastinadoes, and sent me to the galleys. I was chained in the very galley and to the very same bench with the Baron. On board this galley there were 4 young men belonging to Marseille, 5 Neapolitan priests, and 2 monks of Corfu, who told us that the like adventures happened every day. The Baron pretended that he had been worse used than myself. and I insisted that there was far less harm in taking up a nosegay, and putting it into a woman's bosom, than to be found stark naked with a young ikoglin. We were continually whipped, and received 20 lashes a day with a heavy thong, when the concatenation of sublunary events brought you on board our galley to ransom us from slavery. Well, my dear Pangloss, said Candide to him, when you were hanged, dissected, whipped, and tugging at the oar, did you continue to think that everything in this world happens for the best? I have always abided by my first opinion, answered Pangloss. For, after all, I am a philosopher, and it would not become me to retract my sentiments, especially as Leibniz could not be in the wrong, and that pre-established harmony is the finest thing in the world, as well as a plenum and the materia subtilis.
KaraokeBooks.